Welcome everyone to this new video about supporting different screen sizes in Jetpack Compose. So if you want to make your app scale to small screens, tablet screens, normal screens, landscape and portrait mode and all that stuff, then this is the right place for you. I will show you, for example, how you can adjust your text sizes and even small dimension padding values depending on the screen width of your phone. To demonstrate you what we will build, I will show you this little example app here, which currently runs on a normal phone, rather normal screen, Pixel 4 XL here. And when I click on the Nexus 1, then you can see the UI is really responsive because the Nexus 1 has a really small screen, and the same thing for the opposite, a big tablet here, and the screen still looks really good. So after this video, you have unlimited possibilities to make your UI respond to every screen size and every screen width. And before we start right into Android Studio, I will also show you how this adjusts to the landscape mode. When I choose landscape here, then you can see the welcome screen now is on the left instead of the top, and the text here is rearranged. All right, okay, I think that's kind of cool. So let's look how we can achieve this. All right, I'm in an empty Jetpack Compose project here, and first of all, we will go to our UE theme package and create a new Kotlin file called window size class. And in here we will start with a sealed class called window size, which takes the size as an integer. And in the sealed class we will have 4 different data classes which represent the different screen sizes later on. So we will start with the small screen, which takes small size of type int, inherits from window size, and passes this small size parameter here. And then we can just copy and paste this 4 times. We will have also compact size, medium, and large. We also need to rename this compact size, medium size, and large size, and then pass it to the parent, medium, and large size. And then we will have a data class called window size class, which takes the width of type window size and also the height of type window size. And then we will create a composable function, remember window size class, which returns window size class. And we can invoke this remember window size class function at the beginning of our app in our main activity to get the current width and height of our window. And this will get re-invoked every time a configuration change happens. For example, if this user rotates the screen to landscape. And in here we will have a val config, which we can get from localconfig.current. And the width by remember config will be a mutable state of config.screenWidthDP. And then the height also of mutable state of config.screenHeightDP. And I think we need to import some. Yeah, we need to import this. All right. Then we can determine our window width and height class depending on the value of our width and height we got here. So we will start with the window width class is equal to when width is lower or equal than 360. Then we will say window size dot small and pass the corresponding width. If the width is between 361 and 480, then it will be window size dot compact with the width. And these are just values I tried out. You can choose your own ones, just play around with that. And here we'll say 481 and 720. Then I will use medium here, and else window size dot large. And the same thing for the height. We can just copy this again and paste it down here. Here we can say window height class. So when height and height, and just change these values here. And at the end of these functions, we can then return window size class, which takes our window width class and our window height class. And well, maybe you are asking yourself why we did choose the same values here to determine the window height class than we did for the window width class, because normally phones are way higher than they are wide. And that's because of the landscape mode. Let's take a Pixel 4, for example. We would be in this case if the Pixel 4 would be in portrait mode, but we would be in this case if it would be in landscape mode. And down here we will choose a way larger font size and larger padding values and all that stuff than we do in this case here. So we will detect if we are on landscape mode, and depending on the landscape or portrait mode, we will use the window width class as a basis for our font sizes. And if we are on landscape mode, then we will use this window height class, because this case here in portrait mode of a Pixel 4 is the same case than this one here when it's in landscape mode. I hope this gets clear. And then we will go to our UE theme package, create a new Kotlin class or file, and this will be called orientation. Will be an enum class, and in here we will have two cases, portrait and landscape. After that, we will create another Kotlin file called dimensions, which will be our padding dimensions. This will be a data class, small of type dp, well, small, medium, also of type dp, medium, large. You can choose any amount of granularity here. I will choose 5 different values. And yeah, this will be our data class of dimensions. And now we need to define different dimensions depending on our screen width class or screen height class. And first of all, we will say well, small dimensions is equal to dimensions. And in here, we will choose some example values. Small dimension will be 2 dp, small medium will be 4 dp, for example, medium will be 6 dp, medium large 9 dp, and large will be 12 dp. And I also copy and pasted here the compact, medium, and large dimensions, because I think this is nonsense if I type this off here. And yeah, you can get this from my GitHub repository, which I will link down below in the video's description, or just use your own values. And we also need to define our different font sizes here in this type.kotlin file, which is auto-generated by Android Studio. We can just remove this default stuff here and then copy and paste all these different font sizes. And again, I won't type this off in this video because this would last for 5 to 10 minutes or something like this. You can get this from my GitHub repository or use your own values again. And I will quickly go over this. This is the typography small of typography, which is a default default class of Android Studio. And you can see here we have different parameters we can pass, h1 to h6, body 1, body 2, and all that stuff. I just use body 1, body 2, and h6 to h1 here. Feel free to pass more parameters here or to choose different font size values. And then we will also have the typography compact here, which is a little bit bigger than the typography small. And down here we will have typography medium, and at the bottom typography big. Alright, okay, now we have almost everything we need for our different size classes logic. So we will go to our theme.kotlin file, and in our different screen sizes theme, we will define another parameter of our own window size class type, which we defined at the beginning of this video. And inside here, in this composable function, we first need to check in which orientation we are currently. So well orientation is equal to when window size class.width.size is greater than window size class.height.size. And then we know we are in landscape mode, orientation.landscape. And if this is not the case, then we are in portrait mode. After that, we also need a really important value here, which is well size that matters. And this depends on the orientation. I will explain this after we defined it. So if we are in portrait mode, then we will use window size class.width and else window size class.height. So what does this do? If we would have pixel 4, for example, and we would be in orientation dot portrait mode, then we would use the window size class.width, which is all fine so far. But if we would just use this window size class.width and we would then rotate this pixel 4 to landscape mode, then this size class width would be a large size class and also determines large font sizes and large padding values. So that's why we use this little when expression here. When we are in landscape mode, then we will go into this case here and choose the window size class.height as a foundation for our decision of the font sizes and padding values and all that stuff. So for the Pixel 4, that means when we are in landscape mode, then we would use this window size class.height, which is the same size class than the window size class.width if it would be in portrait mode. So we use always the original width value here with this when expression. Now we can define our dimensions and our typography. So well dimensions is equal to when size that matters is window size dot small. Then we use our small dimensions. Is window size dot compact. We will use our compact dimensions. Is window size dot medium dimensions, and else our large dimensions. And the same thing we can do now for our typography. So well typography is equal to when size that matters is window size dot small. Well, I will just copy this off here. We will use our small typography small, typography compact, medium, and typography big. And now we need to pass our typography, the dimensions, and also our orientation mode somehow into this material theme. For the typography, it's really easy. We can just use this typography parameter, but we also want to pass the dimensions and the orientation so we can access this during runtime in our composable functions for our screens later. And to achieve this, we will create another Kotlin class or Kotlin file, which I will call apputils. And inside here, we will have a composable provide apputils. This takes the dimensions and the orientation and also a content, which is a composable, like this. And in here, we will have a dim set is equal to remember dimensions, import remember here. Then we will also have the orientation, remember is equal to remember orientation. And we also need content providers. So we will say local app dimensions is equal to compositioner locale of. Then we will pass the small dimension as default parameter here, and we will also have local orientation mode is equal to composition locale of. And here we will say orientation dot portrait as a default value. And up here we can then provide these values. So we can say composition local provider, and our local app dimensions provides our dim set. Our local orientation mode provides our orientation. And let me put this in separate lines here. And then the content will be our past content. And then I will show you how we can use this provide app utils in our theme here. Here we can say provide app utils and then pass our dimensions and our orientation And for the content, for the composable content, because the material theme here is also composable, we can just take this and put this in here. And so we can wrap our material theme with our own app utils. And one last thing before we go into the screen UI, we need to provide or grant access to our dimensions and to our orientation during runtime. And therefore, we will create an object here, object app theme, which has value dimensions, dimens of type dimensions, and the composable, so we can call this or not equal of type. Composable, so we can get this from within composable functions, and then we can say local app dimens dot current. And the same thing we can do for our orientation. So val orientation, oops, orientation of type orientation, and composable get functions where we can say local orientation mode dot current. And you will see soon how we can use this. It's really easy and really flexible. So we will go to our main activity then. And in here we get an error because we need to pass our window size class. But we can say, well, window is equal to remember window size class with this function we defined at the beginning. And then we can pass our window in our different screen sizes theme. All right, let's now begin with building the beginnings demonstration apps UI. And you will see how easy it is to get the orientation and to get the different dimens values and how responsive your UI will be. So this whole setup is really worth it if you want to make your app responsive and adapt to every screen size. So we can remove this preview stuff in this example composable and also remove this. And first of all, I want to check if we are currently in portrait mode or in landscape mode. And if we are in portrait mode, let's define a column which takes a modifier modifier.fillMaxSize, and the vertical arrangement will be arrangement.spaceBetween, and the horizontal alignment will be alignment.center horizontally. Inside this column we will have a box which fills the max width, fill max width, and the content alignment will be alignment.center. Inside this box will be our picture and the welcome message. So this will be an image which takes a painter resource, and I have just an example image here from my desktop's background. Just choose any image you want, and the content description will be image 1, and the modifier will be modifier.clip, and we will just clip 2 corners here to a rounded corner shape, and we can say then bottom end. Then we can use our app theme.dimens.medium, and for our bottom start, app theme.dimens.medium as well. And then we will also, no, we need this one here, fill max width. Let me rearrange this a little bit. Yeah, and the content scale will be content scale.fill width. All right, and then we will use this box for our text as well. So text will be welcome. I won't do string resources here because of the simplicity of this app. So the style will be material theme.typography.h4, which we also defined in our different typography. So this h4 typography is also responsive to the 2 different screen sizes. And the color will be color.white. Below this box we will have another column which takes a modifier modifier fill max width again. The horizontal alignment will be alignment.center horizontally. Let me scroll up a bit. And the vertical arrangement will be arrangement.spaceby apptheme.demons.large. And in here we will have two texts. One text says this application supports all screen sizes and landscape mode. The style will be again of our material theme.typography, this time H6, and the text align will be text align.center. And then we will have a similar text down here, which has which says you can have the maximum flexibility regarding your UI using this approach. Yeah, and here we have the body 1 typography, and the text alignment will be also center. And down here below this column we will have a button. I won't do a one-click method here because this screen does not do anything. And let me rearrange this. All right, and then the color of this button will be button defaults, button colors. Background color will be color.blue. Content color will be color.white. And this button also takes a modifier which says fill max width. And the padding of this button will be again responsive, so we used our app theme.demons.medium large this time. And the shape of this button will be a circle shape. And inside this button we will have a text composable. Let's go. The style of this button will be again responsive, material theme, typography body 1. Font weight will be font weight.bold. Text align.center. And the modifier will be again a responsive modifier which says padding app theme.demons.medium this time. All right, this is it for our portrait mode. So I will quickly launch this app and show you how this looks so far. But right now we won't see anything in our landscape mode because this else block here is completely empty. But just to demonstrate how far we are until now, I will quickly start this app. And now you can see the Pixel 4 XL phone here, where the app looks kind of good, but to show you that it also works quite nicely on the Nexus and on the tablet, I will also show you these two screens. So it also looks really good on the Nexus phone, and if we choose our tablet, then it looks also good on our tablet. But if we rotate the screen and adapt this here, then you will see the screen is empty because, as I already said, in our else block there are no composables yet, and we will look into this now. In our landscape case, we will have a row instead of a column as the root composable, which takes a modifier .fillmax size, and the vertical alignment will be center vertically. Inside this row we will have a box which also takes a modifier fill max size, and the weight will be here 1f because we will have a column down here later which also takes a weight, so they share the width inside this row here depending on the weight they get. And inside this box we will have an image with a painter resource, and I will use image 2 here because image 2 is kind of vertical expanded, as you can see here, and image 1, which we take in the portrait mode, is horizontally expanded. So then we will have a content description, image 2, and this image also takes a modifier here, and we also pass a clip with a rounded corner shape, and this time we will have a rounded corner on the top end. App theme.demons.medium, and the bottom end will be also rounded. AppTheme.Demons.medium here. And this time we will say fill max high. And also the content scale will be content scale dot fill height. And below this image we will have a text with the welcome message. The style will be material theme.typography.h4 and the color will be color.white. Alright, now let's go to this column here. Here we will have a modifier fill max size, and the weight will be 2f, so the column will be more expanded than the box up here, which has the weight 1. So this column is more weighted here. And we will also have a padding in this column, apptheme.demons.medium large, and the horizontal alignment will be center horizontally. The vertical arrangement will be space between, and inside this column we will now have our texts and the button, which I will copy from above here, the two texts, and pass it down here. So the typography H6 and body 1 stays the same, and I will also copy the button from above and paste it down here. And I think this should be it. We can launch this now and look how it looks in the landscape mode. And now the app launched, and I will rotate it to landscape and adjust this here. And this looks quite good. The welcome text here is on the top left because I think, oh yeah, here I forgot the content alignment. Which has to be alignment.center, and this will replace this welcome text to the center of this picture here inside this box. And we can also have a look at the Nexus phone, which I can't rotate right now. Well, maybe this Nexus phone does not have the functionality, so we will have a look at the tablet, and when I rotate this, it also looks really good. Yeah, okay, the welcome text here is also on the top left, but we just need to relaunch the app here to place this to center because we did this little adjustment. The last thing I want to show you is how it would look like with total values instead of our responsive approach. So let's go up here to our portrait mode, and here we will change some values. We won't use this dimensions values anymore. We will just say 10 dp for the rounded corners, also 10 dp, and for our welcome text here we will say 30 sp and adjust this to font size. And inside our column here we will use for the arrangement 20 dp, and here for our text font size 23 sp, and here font size maybe 19 sp, and for our button we will have a padding of 15 dp, and the text inside this button will have a font size of 22 sp, and this text will also have a total padding of 15 dp. Alright, let's relaunch this and look how it looks now on the different screens. Alright, let's have a look at the Pixel 4 XL. I think the font size here is a little bit too big, and also the button is too big. But when we have a look at the Nexus phone, it is way too big. This is too big for a good UI. If we would just have 1 or 2 lines of text more, then it would go into the button down here. Yeah, this does not look good at all. But if we take a look at the tablet here, then the font size is too small, I think. Especially the two texts in the middle of the screen. And the button is still okay, I think, but yeah, I think you get the hint. If you use total values for font sizes and app paddings and all that stuff, because the padding has a huge impact here on the button size, which looks really bad in the Nexus phone. The button is way too high, and yeah, this is because of this padding here in the text, which is just too high for the Nexus phone. If we choose this top 5, then you can see the button is okay. But if we have a look at the tablet, then the button is too small. It's not high enough. So the simple UI already showed the advantages of this responsive layout approach with the dim-ins and font sizes and all that stuff. But the huge advantage and the huge power of this approach will be explored when you build complex and big UIs with a lot of elements where each padding value is important, that your text does not get cut off or does not break into the next line and all that things. And yeah, I think you will make your experience when you use this in your projects and build more complex UIs. And yeah, these are the basics for that, and you can build upon them and build really flexible and responsive and adaptive UIs. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, we will see us in the next video.